Well, the main problems we're trying to solve is we created a concept of a Web 2 to Web 3 bridge. We kind of looked at the market. We looked at the way a lot of different projects are doing. We looked at problems with adoption with Web 3, and we realized that putting Web 3 directly into applications, including games seems to be the one that people are most putting Web 3 into, and all of the problems that come along with it, the knowledge gap, the time it takes, and to be quite honest, the way it breaks an actual game. It breaks the fun. It interrupts the the structure of the game. And so we looked at different ways to streamline that and make it easier for projects to actually use Web3. And so we created a bridge that allows us to implement Web3 on the back end without ever actually touching the application itself or the game or whatever application, Web2 application you happen to have. And by doing this, and we originally built this very hard coded, just as a POC. And the challenges we had were making it flexible enough that we could take this, that a project could take this API that we've built, this Web3 API, and put it into their Web2 project in a matter of hours, rather than weeks, months, years of trying to get it into their game without changing their game or without changing their product, and without making their users completely understand Web3, and without
Hours,
making their
hours. Wow.
without making their developers even understand Web3. So we simplified it, we extracted it, and our platform, we do 90% plus of the heavy lifting of the bridge. There's a small 5 to 10% that actually is on the developer, and it's very simple and it's very, very straightforward. Probably less than 1,000 lines of code.
That's actually quite cool if you think about it. If you, even if you're a large game studio, but let's think about all the indie game studios that do not have the budget to develop something to integrate Web3 into their game, because it takes months, or like you said, maybe even a year or more of development time in order to integrate the right Web3 functionality and core components into that. And if you can reduce that back to hours, it's insane. Like, it's a lot of opportunity, right?
It is. It's extracting this concept of putting Web3 into a Web2 project into a simple package that can be done in hours with examples. It changes the game entirely. I mean, literally. It just changes everything.
That's what we love to hear. That's why we invited you to Funders. Is it? Could you maybe tell me a little bit more about the core technology behind Nitrodome?
Log into the application, and now I can say this user on our platform is this user in this application. And so here's my inventory, or here's my items, and then here's my NFTs, which are being pulled from the blockchain. And so it's all done on our website. The actual UI of the portal is on our website. And so it's very simple at this point to have simple communication with the back end of the game to say, hey, user wants to take this NFT and make it an item in your project or in your game or your whatever. And user wants to take these items from their inventory. And I'm using terminology related to games because gaming is our first vertical that we're going to be implementing. There are others, but gaming is the first one because gamers are usually a little more likely to adopt new tech. They're always really pushing. They always want to try something new. That's why they're gamers. They like to try things. And so the gaming vertical is the first one we're tapping because it just seems like the right thing to do. And it's also very easy to understand. I have game items. I have my inventory. I can bring those out as NFTs through the portal, or I can take NFTs through the portal and make them game items. So very simple to go back and forth.
It's simple to explain, like in the world that most people understand. Like, a lot of people have games, so they know what an inventory and what items are, right? And it makes sense. It's easier to grasp the concept and explain. So that makes you. So you're not a gaming fi project or a gaming project. You're broader than that.
We are much broader than that. The main technology we have is the portal, and it's actually a Web 2 to Web 3 bridge, and it can be put into any vertical. It could be real estate, it could be intellectual property. It could be anything. There are so many systems out there. I recently saw that there was some project put, what was it? The car registrations, the DMV in California put them on chain. It was a multi-million-dollar operation to be able to do that. And it
Yeah.
took them so long to do. With our technology, we could have just tapped into the back end of their database and people could have NFTified, which is a term we've been talking, we kind of coined and we've been working on as a NFTifying an asset very quickly without actually changing the way that DMV does their work. Very simple. And
Nice.
so this is where, but on top of that, in addition to the bridge, we have also added all kinds of other ways to manage assets. We have our NFT DEX, which is actually a liquidity pool for NFT.